Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Just to jump straight in, I already have my brows filled in as per usual, and I have my eyelids primed with some Tarte Shape Tape and some powder. Today we're going to be using the Subculture palette by ABH, which I am super excited about. To begin, I'm going to take this Sigma E38 brush and I'm going to dip into the shade Dawn from the Subculture palette. And just using windshield wiper motions, I'm going to run that back and forth in the crease to begin warming it up. Now using that same Sigma E38 brush, I'm going to dip into the shade Edge from the Subculture palette. And I'm just going to blend that into the previous shade to try and get a gradient going. I was having a little bit of trouble blending these shadows, but come to find out that's kind of an issue some people have been having with this palette, so I just did my best to work with it. Now taking the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease brush, I'm going to dip into the shade All Star from the ABH Subculture palette. And I'm just going to blend that underneath those two previous shades to try and get a little bit of a deepness going within this gradient. And I also fleeked it out towards the end to try and get that cat eye look. To try and get that to blend out a little further, I went in with my Sigma E38 brush once again. And I picked up the color New Wave to place in between that Dawn and Edge shade and the All Star shade just to try and mesh them together and create more of a gradient. And to add more warmth to the look overall. Picking up this super fluffy brush that I got in my Ipsy bag so long ago, but I'm so grateful for because it's come in such handy in my previous looks, I'm just going to blend out the edges further of these shadows. Now picking up this super old, literally so old that they don't even have it on the website anymore, BH Cosmetics brush, I'm going to dip into the ABH concealer in the shade 0.5, which I just recently purchased and have been loving so far for my cut creases. I'm going to do just that and start to carve out the crease. Only the first half of my crease though, because we are just going to do a half cut crease today. Now picking up that same fluffy brush that we used earlier, I'm going to use this to dip into my AIRSPUN powder and just begin setting that concealer that we put onto the lid so it's not sticky and it doesn't crease. Now with some water, I'm just going to spray the other end of my double-ended fluffy brush, and I'm just going to dip into the shade Electric from the ABH Subculture palette, and I'm just going to begin packing that onto my lid for a nice pop of green. This is a color in the palette that really stuck out to me because I thought it was so different than any other colors I've seen from ABH in their palettes, and I was really excited to use this one, and I thought the pigment of it was absolutely beautiful. I'm only going to go to about the center of the lid with this shade. Now picking up my Morphe 507 brush, which is so perfect for some intricate blending, and I'm just going to use this to pick up the shade Untamed from the Subculture palette, and I'm going to take that into my outer corner and begin blending in towards the center where that green shade ends. And as you can see, when I first placed this shade down, there is a lot of pigment within it, so you got to be kind of careful with blending. Now picking up my Real Techniques Deluxe Crease brush once again, I'm going to dip into the shade Rowdy from the Subculture palette. This shade had a lot of fallout for me, as you can kind of see here, but that's okay. That's why we do eyes first. We can just wipe it away with a makeup wipe afterwards. And I'm just going to blend that into the outer corner and deepen up the whole eye look. As you can see, I'm just going to take this makeup wipe to clean up the fallout and just sharpen up the look altogether. Now taking my Hard Candy Black Liquid Liner, I'm just going to draw a thin line on my upper lash line so that it's easier to hide the lash band when we apply falsies. To coat my lashes, I'm going to take my Rimmel Glam Eyes Mascara, which is obviously my favorite mascara. I use this a lot in all of my tutorials, and I'm just going to coat my upper lashes and try to get them as curly and dark as possible. For lashes today, I'm going to be using the Serious Lashes from Certify. This was my first time using these lashes in particular, and I absolutely love them, so I definitely recommend them. They're super fluffy and they're cruelty-free, which is always a plus. To stick with the ABH theme we're obviously going for today, I'm going to take the ABH Stick Foundation in the shade Porcelain, and I'm just going to apply that to my face with a little beauty blender that I got from Marshall's. It is not the real one, but it's just as good in my opinion. Next, I'm going to take my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair as always, and I'm just going to run this under my eyes, down my nose, and a little bit on my chin. If you notice, I never really apply my concealer in the same places. Sometimes I'll add it to my forehead, sometimes I won't, sometimes I'll add it to my chin, sometimes I won't. It really just depends on how I'm feeling that day, you know? And then I'm just going to take that same beauty blender and pat it into my skin. Taking that BH Cosmetics brush once again, I'm just going to take some of that leftover concealer and I'm just going to bring it up against that wing that we kind of created within our shadow, just to kind of be sure everything's looking sharp and neat. Taking my Morphe 509 brush, I'm just going to apply some of my COTY AIRSPUN powder under my eyes to set the concealer and be sure that there's no creasing. And just to further reinforce the fact that I did not want any creasing, I decided to go in with a denser brush by Sigma. And I just went over my under eyes once again, and I went in my smile lines especially to be sure that I had no creasing throughout the day. During the ABH launch, I also managed to pick up some Liquid Glow, which is also new, and I got the shade Perla, which I thought would best suit my fair skin. It wasn't as bright as I was hoping for, but it did give me a really nice sheen to my skin. If you've been watching my tutorials, you know I love my Cover FX custom enhancer drops for my liquid highlighter, so I don't know if this will actually replace that, but I do like having this option on hand. And I just decided to blend it out with my fingers as I usually do with my other liquid highlighters, because I find that the warmth of your finger really melts the product into your skin and gives you a really natural glow. Now, I did lose the footage of me actually applying this, but I did apply my Morphe 9C Contour and Highlight Palette to contour my face, and then I just applied my Tarte Cosmetics Pampered Blush to my cheeks to give me some color. And then using my Morphe M510 brush, I'm going to dip into the Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit by Anastasia. And I'm just going to pick up the shade Forever Lit and Forever Young. And I did apply those to my face, but I can't find the footage of it. But here I just applied it to my collarbones and on my shoulders for an extra pop. And now, just to finish off the eyes, I'm going to take my Sigma E25 brush and I'm going to dip into the shade Untamed from the Subculture palette. And I'm just going to drag that along my lower lash line just to smoke things out and make everything look a little bit more intense. Taking that same Sigma E25 brush, I'm going to dip into the shade Rowdy, and I'm just going to focus that on the outer half of our lower lash line to add some depth, and just to further intensify things once again. Taking the smudger side of this double-ended brush, I'm going to dip into the shade Forever Lit from the Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit. And I'm just going to add that to the inner corner of my eyes and onto my brow bone just for an extra pop. Taking my Rimmel Glam Eyes Mascara, once again I'm just going to coat my lower lashes to give them some length and intensity. To finish off the look, I'm going to take the Anastasia liquid lipstick in the shade Naked, and I'm just going to apply this to my lips very sloppily. I don't know what was wrong with me, but this application was absolutely horrible. So I decided to go in with some concealer just to clean up the lip line and make myself look a little more human. And that, my friends, is the finished look. I hope that you enjoyed watching and you got to see a little bit of a first look at the Subculture palette if you haven't already. As you can see, it's a really great palette and it has a lot of pigment. It just takes a little bit of time to work with it. But with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!